Nadia Mukami, Okello Max, and Prince Inda with Mali Safi bringing us to the top of the hour. It is 4 minutes past 10. A very good morning to you. Still deep in the AM with me, Maria. And it's about that time I let you know that we're about to get into our conversation, and our favorite guest is officially in studio. So, Baze Radio.
And now, make some noise! Turn up your radios.
I just want your autograph!
For our Baze Radio guest. Stay tuned.
Absolutely. Baze Radio, help me make some noise for an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. He's also a radio host. A Rotarian. I just discovered that today and I was yelling. I was like, yes, love to see it. Baze Radio, help me make some noise for Mutua.
Asante sana, how are you?
Hey, no, I have to pay. I gotta press the horns.
Oh.
Man. Thank you so much for coming, first of all.
Asante sana, how are you?
I'm amazing. How are you?
Niko salama kabisa.
Dude, you're such a radio host. Like, you've already taken over. Yani, sasa shoni yako. I love it.
Many times I'm used to being on that other side.
Makes sense.
So being on this side is a bit weird.
Listen, it's valid.
Yeah.
Ata siwezi teta.
Yes.
But before we get into the actuality of why you're here, I think it's only right that we get to know more about you.
Yeah.
And one, I know you have a podcast.
Yes.
The name
Wakili Quick One. Yes.
Please tell us more about it. What do you guys do? What do you guys talk about? Yeah.
Well, Wakili Quick One is me giving back to the profession.
Okay.
So it's largely a mentorship platform. Because you realize that many times you come out of campus and you have no idea what is it that you're doing and what you want to go and do.
True.
Yes, I've studied law, but there are so many other facets of law. You know, there's corporate commercial, there's guys who do arbitration, there's litigation, there are guys doing merging areas of law. You know, there's a whole minefield of law.
Yeah. So
many times you get out of there, by the time you get into Kenya School of Law, even the time you're doing pupillage, even as early as 1 year, 2 years post admission, many people don't even know the direction they want to take.
True.
So it was a conversation I had with my co-host. He's called Johnson Kariuki. We used to work together. He was a few years ahead of me.
Nice.
And it was a simple bar talk. I was having my whiskey, he was having his beer, and I said, look, I have this idea, and he said he has this idea, and it was a meeting of the mind. So it's a platform for mentorship.
Makes sense.
So what you'll see there, it's a lot of mentorship stories, guys, how they grew into the profession, how they came into the profession, what they do, and the direction and the advice they would give the younger advocates who are coming. Yes.
Makes sense. That's absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
And now that you even mentioned whiskey,
that we can talk for that for days.
I'm literally gonna give you a minute, bro. So I'll ask you two questions about that. So what is the finest whiskey you've had?
Octomo.
You're done?
Octomo by Brookladic.
Okay, you know what? We'll just assume we know who that is.
Oh, so let me give a disclaimer. Much of the whiskies we have in Kenya, so there are about 5 whiskey growing regions in Scotland.
Okay.
And much of what is known here is Speyside whiskey and Highland whiskey. So these are the Kina Glenfiddich, Kina Glenmorangie, just the popular brands, Kina Singleton, all that. But now there's another region. It's called Ila, written as Islay. Okay. So their whiskeys are very peaty and very smoky. So I love my whiskeys very, very smoky.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so Octomo, Classic Laddie, Ardbeg, those are some of my favorite whiskeys because they come from that specific region.
It's giving class. It's giving very expensive.
Well, expensive, yes. Class, I don't know.
But on top of that, you
yes.
see, clearly, I can tell you're very, very into whiskey and you even understand the flavors and the types.
Yes.
Good stuff. Are you keen on having like your own brand or you just enjoy the partaking?
Oh, well, I have a small whiskey club.
Oh.
Yeah, we call ourselves whiskey snobs.
Oh.
Yeah, I can tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really want to have a brand. I just want it's things I enjoy. I don't want to monetize it. I just want to, once I'm with good company. Yeah. We just, pour a drum, just enjoy ourselves, have good stories. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is absolutely amazing. Well, we
And
are
gatekeep.
No, with me, we're not doing that.
We
You have
gatekeep,
to
yeah.
give me all the tea. You have to. But guys, we're still deep in conversation and only getting started, and we'll be talking more about IP and, of course, just getting to know him all round. But, of course, we get into more music. Coming right up is DJ Spoo and Tina Adore with I'll Be There. That is Masterpiece Scarm Cardinale spicing up our Wednesday morning right here on Baze Radio. A very good morning to you and welcome to the AM. As I told you, we're so deep in conversation today with our guest, who is Mutua Mutuku, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and a superb IP lawyer. And like I told you, all creatives, musicians, this is your time to grab your notebook because we're about to get deep and heavy into law. Amaji Mutua.
Yes.
No, you just say yes.
We're going to just
I was just yes, something lawful.
or yes, Your Honor. or yes, my lady.
Oh my gosh. But first of all, before we get too deep into the conversation,
Yes.
I think it's right for you to highlight how many, first of all, what is intellectual property and how many types of IP are available, especially in the creative scene.
So the easier way of putting IP is I don't know, was it Banjuka remix where one of the artists says akili pia ni muscle, and that's the basis of IP. Intellectual property simply means the works and the creations of the mind. So you're using your mind as a muscle. You see how guys are used to. Some guys go and lima in the shamba. You're using your physical, your body to do all those activities. But now with IP, it simply means you're using your brain as a muscle to put some of these things into perspective. Now, there are two major facets of intellectual property law. One, they're what we call industrial rights, and two, what we call copyrights. Now, I'll leave copyright for now because I think that's where we're going to have a go at it.
Yeah.
Now, industrial rights are divided into a number of rights. One, the biggest is patents. So a patent is if you have something new, novel, a scientific formula, something that has never existed, a new medicine, new technology, just something that is out of this world.
Yeah.
Well, like what a lot of Elon Musk does, all those crazy ideas. Yeah. That's what you call patent. It's novel, new, scientific. That's a highlight of industrial rights. Now, just beneath industrial rights, there's something we call utility models or petty patents. It simply means, yes, you have this product, you have this concept. No, let me not call it concept because, by the way, disclaimer, IP does not protect ideas.
Ideas, proposals, nothing.
No. It has to be something that has been done, tangible.
Interesting.
Yes. I have this idea and then you come and share it with me and then I go and act on it.
Done.
Bro, you're done.
No.
Yes. And we'll get into that. So petty patents simply means that they're products or services that you've come up with, but they do not meet the threshold of a patent. That's what they're called, petty patents. And the best example has been the ceramic jiko. You remember there was a jiko that came that was able to use kidogo charcoal. Yeah. Yes, it could not meet the threshold of a patent, but then because it's innovative, it has come up with something, so it gets into that. Now, there's another right you call industrial design.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, your phone, the shape of your phone, the iPhone. When I look at this phone, I know it's an iPhone.
True.
That shape. That is what we call industrial design. For example, the shape of this bottle, it's very different from my sparkling bottle.
You just had to. Okay.
Yes. So that is called an industrial design.
Crazy.
Now, the most famous from this one is what we call a trademark. Trademark simply means something that you're able to identify with. For example, if I look at that logo, I'm able to know, look, that's Baze Radio. If I look at the green of Safaricom, I can simply say that is
put something to ear.
Yes. When I hear about Bazoo, I know someone has taken a trademark about it, right?
And we'll be talking about that in just a little while.
Yes. And besides that, there's something we call a trade secret.
Yes.
And the biggest trade secret is the Coca-Cola formula, where you have a secret
formula.
Is
that also, does that apply also to KFC, the 60?
Yes, the KFC.
Okay.
So there are also other, for whiskeys, I know there are quite a number of different brands that have secret formulas.
Wow.
Yes, because you don't want to disclose it,
True.
You make it as a secret formula.
Okay.
Is there anything I haven't talked about in terms of industrial designs? No, I think that's mostly it. Yeah. But besides that, the things we also called cultural expressions.
Okay.
The biggest one has been the Kiondos, the Maasai regalia. So those ones have their own facets.
Interesting.
And the biggest custodian of that is the county governments, what we have now. So whatever is maybe something that was discovered in Turkana, the Homo habilis, those ones, you remember those ones. So the biggest custodian is the county governments. And now, let's get to copyrights.
You have to hold that thought.
We hold that thought.
We have to come back to copyrights in just a little while. For now, we get to listen to some music. This is Octopizzo with Something For You, but you want to... do not touch that dial. More conversation is coming right here on Baze. Vijana Baru Baru, if fishes were horses, and you heard it right here on Baze Radio. A very good morning to you, and we're still deep in the AM, kama kawaida, in conversation with Mutua Mutuku, and we're talking all things IP. Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen. Mutua?
Yes.
Salama?
Salama kabisa.
As we had put a pause, we're going to talk about copyright.
Yeah.
So this is your time to shine. Move with it before I get into my question about copyright. So let's go.
So just so that you don't make the conversation too academic.
Okay.
So maybe we can. The reason why we are mostly touching on copyrights is probably I can give a few examples of recent happenings around the area around copyright. I know everyone has heard about the Brian Mutinda versus Nonini matter. Yeah. So prior to that, we had a matter where just before the elections, at the unveiling of Azimio La Umoja's running mate, Martha Karua, they used Sauti Sol's music. Yeah. And now that brought to forth what synchronization rights are. And I remember I wrote that in a daily article, a Daily Nation article, and I got a bit of threats here and there. Yes, from the powers that be at that time. Prior to that, I remember there was a guy called Katana of the Mushrooms. He had done a song, I think, called Kazi Ni Kazi. Okay. And Royal Media took that song and put it in one of their shows that was called Chapakazi. I don't know if you remember when you were kitambo kidogo, there was a show called Chapakazi. And
this leads me to ask, how old are you?
Well.
Some of us right now very clueless. Like, what do you mean Chapakazi?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes. So that's the genesis of some of these things. But just to get into it, what is copyright? So copyright involves protecting of anything that involves writing literally, whether it's in the music, whether it's just books, film, podcast, any media. Let me make it even interesting. Even a tattoo artist.
Crazy.
Yes, because they're creating something. It's just that the canvas is not the traditional media that you're used to.
True.
It's your body.
Wow.
But that is the work of the tattoo artist.
Wow.
And let me make it interesting. There have been so many lawsuits around tattoos, especially with the gamers. For example, if I'm making a game, whether it's FIFA, whether it's basketball, or whatever form of game that I'm going to create, it means if the game is basketball, and this is LeBron, you can't have LeBron without tattoos.
True.
LeBron has to come the way he looks.
Yeah.
Now, if you reproduce that in the form of a game, you've reproduced another artist's
work.
Yes, whether by knowing or not knowing. So that is the mind. That's how far delicate, complicated, and simple these things are.
Wow.
Yes. And like I said, IP creates work that has been put in a medium, not ideas. And the custodian of copyrights in Kenya is an organization called Kenya Copyright Board, Kikobo, that is headquartered at the National NHIF building.
Okay.
Yeah. And so for industrial rights, they are headquartered at a building called Kenya Industrial Properties Institute, KIPI, at Kabanserian.
Okay.
So you see how diverse they are?
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the difference between those rights. So anything that involves work that has literal works, whether it's publishing, what, that falls under the ambit of copyrights.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, I'm pretty sure these creatives, musicians who are just sitting and wondering how to properly register and how, like, what costs or what's the process when it comes to registering and what benefit is it, because it beats the point for me to register all these things. And when it comes down to it, there's really nothing much I can do.
So the registration process is very simple. I think in this country, if there are institutions that really work well, government institutions, they are the institutions around the creative economy sector. Okay. Funny thing, it's just that creatives don't take advantage of this. So when it comes to registration, Kenya Copyright Board have made this thing, and I'm not holding their brief, sincerely, because it might seem
true.
They've made this process very simple. You just get into online, you create your own account in their portal, and you start whatever medium it is, whether it's in a CD, whether it's whichever form that you want to create, you upload it, and it goes through their system. They look at the quality, they look at originality, all that, and then they give you a certificate. And for the longest time, Kikobo had been doing this for free. You're actually doing it for free at that time. For about a period, about almost 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, registration was free. But now you pay a nominal fee, which I think is 500 shillings for any work that you create. Yeah. And they'll give you a certificate that has a certificate number.
Okay.
Now, what do you do with all these things? You monetize. Now, there had been a legal lacuna. What is the English version of that? I don't want to get legalese.
No, take us to the court, please. Don't
Take
us.
There had been a loophole. There had been a legal loophole on how you can monetize some of these things. Now, in 2016, government, in their wisdom, came up with something called Movable Property Securities Act. So this is to say, today, let me just follow it up.
Okay.
Then after they created that, for the longest time they didn't put in regulations. So it means if you've created an act of parliament without regulations, it means operationalizing these things becomes very difficult.
True.
So they put in the regulations. After they put in the regulations, they created a portal at Business Registration Services. So if someone has an e-citizen account, once you go to BRS, there's a portal for properties. So what this means is today, if Baze Radio, with their trademark, they have a registered trademark, and they say, look, we don't have fixed assets. That is, we don't have land, we don't have cars, we don't have, all those identifiable assets that you can see. They say, look, we have a trademark, and we think its value is X amount of money. And we're looking at expanding Baze Radio to other regions, right? We need capital. We need capital injection. With that trademark, you can use that trademark as collateral to borrow money.
What?
Yes. As an artist, if of course you have your music, you have an entire catalog. You can use, and I think Sauti Sol are trying to do that. Sauti Sol are trying to do that. And the person who came up with this thing was called David Bowie.
Okay.
You can even, there's something called Bowie bonds. So they came up, you can use that catalog as collateral to borrow.
So is that why there's like this growing trend of, you'll see like, oh, Michael Jackson is selling half his catalog, or
Yes.
Justin Bieber sold.
Yes.
Huh.
And guys are making it into bonds, like the way you buy treasury bonds. Guys they are musical bonds.
Wow.
And guys are making money out of that.
Crazy.
Because you're looking at, if you buy them, the royalties that accrue from that, if I'm the owner of the bonds, they come straight to me.
Crazy.
And these conversations have been there for
Forever.
eons.
But I feel like, anywho, we'll get deeper into that in just a little while. Let's just put a small comma on that one. Woof, guys, at this rate, I think I'm ready to have a degree in law. Like, I feel so smart this morning. I don't know about you.
You want to be boring.
But yes, we're still here deep in the conversation with Mutua Mutuku. But we get into more music in just a little bit. Just catch a breather. This is Single Again by Mr. Seed. Special Day by Kat Muller. That is peak when I was a teenager. Oh, good time. Somebody take me back. But yes, you are still deep in the AM. You're tuned into the AM with Maria. And of course, we're still deep in conversation with one of the smartest lawyers in the country. This is Mutua Mutuku. Make some Hey. So Mutu, you said after this, I can put on the wig, right?
And the bib.
Yeah, it's the wig and the
wig and the
What's the
bib.
name of the wig, by the way?
It's
just a wig.
Just call it a wig.
I think I'm ready to wear it. I feel so smart today. Oh my gosh.
And look like our colonial masters.
Not quite, but you get the point.
I get the point.
Well, yes, we're still talking IP, guys. And as we're about to conclude our conversation today, you are going to explain to us some rights that are available, and that is like rights like mechanical, synchronization. Please dive us deep into that world.
So let me start by saying this. Copyright has two major rights. One is economic rights.
Okay.
And the other one is what we call moral rights. And just from the definitions, you can easily figure out where this is headed.
Yeah.
So economic rights is simply rights that involve money. That involves if I come up with a creation, how am I making money out of it? Do I license it? Do I reproduce it? How are we publishing it? Are we selling it to streaming sites? Are we telling the guys like in Amudundo, look, give us this? Are we calling Safaricom tunes and saying, look, I want my music to be on that callback tune, you know?
Yeah.
So all that involves an aspect of economy, money. And these ones can always be assigned to anyone. You can license them to any party, whether it's a big organization, a big entity, a company, a corporate, either for their use, for their distribution.
Yeah.
They can be used for making films, you know, you can use it for advertisement, you know, such kind of stuff, so that you are able to get money out of it. So you do that through things like licensing agreements or assigning part of it for a specific period of time, you know, such kind of stuff. Now, there's an element we call moral rights. So moral rights can never be assigned for the life of the creator. Moral rights simply means if it's my music, I have the right to be named as the author of that. Whether it's music, whether it's book, whether it's what, as long as I'm the one who came up with it.
Okay.
The other aspect is I have the right to make sure that whatever it is that I'm creating is not misused. You know, you don't want to find your beautiful music being used in a blue film somewhere. True. Right? So those are the two major rights. Okay. Now, when it comes to music, and this is where I want people to really get the whole aspect, the whole picture. There are so many other rights, but there are two major rights around music. There's music composition and music recording.
Yeah.
I'm so sure you've heard a guy saying this song was written by Neo.
Yeah. But performed by...
Not even performed. Neo has written this music.
Yes.
The sound recording is done by a recording company, whoever it is. And the person who's singing is a different artist.
Yeah.
So those are the two major rights. And when it comes to licensing or whatever agreement that it is that you're trying to formulate, you need to be very, very, very careful on what it is that you're signing. Are we assigning the composition, the lyrics and whatnot? Or are we assigning the recording, the sound recording?
Yeah.
And if you're assigning the sound recording, who has the master
Yeah.
to that sound recording? Is it the artist or is it the record label? Or is it that the record label was paid upfront? And no, I'll touch on that later on. Now, after that, I'm so sure people have had this thing called synchronization.
Yes.
A lot. Synchronization simply comes from the word sync. So I'm creating, like now we're having this conversation. And probably I want, as we are at the end, someone is capturing this on film.
Yeah.
We put someone's sound music into it. So what I have done, I have taken their music and synchronized with what you're doing. So it's mostly done that in any audiovisual.
Okay.
Whether it's a YouTube video,
Content video.
whether it's in a film, those soundtracks,
Yeah.
nyuma, just anything that has that audio.
Okay.
And sometimes the smart people who are creating these things, if you have a budget, you normally come and tell the artist, we want you to make us a soundtrack specifically
For this.
and we pay you as a work for hire.
Yeah.
So it means I retain all the copyrights around that.
Interesting.
Now, if you don't do that, you need to get something called a synchronization license from the artist.
Okay.
And I saw a very a not so true legal opinion from the Music Copyright Society of Kenya CEO at that time. I know he was pandering to the government of the day at that time when that madness for Azimio came and he said that Sauti Sol had assigned all the rights. And synchronization rights is one of those rights you do not assign. You have to go to the artist specifically.
Consent.
Yes. So in the situation of Brian Mutinda versus Nonini, he should have gone to Nonini to
get
ask
a
for consent.
synchronization license.
Yes. And it could be a simple thing as a phone call
Or a text even.
or a text. But the difficulty with that is when things are bad, I said, you said. You see where the difficulty comes in. So many times we prefer it in written form. So there's another right called mechanical right.
Wait, we have to hold that thought and take it into the next bit.
Okay.
So yes.
All right.
More music coming in, guys. Leo tumesema we are talking serious things. Kama kwenda shule, this is your time to be educated. Mutua Mutuku is in the house and we are having all conversations IP. So yes, stick around as we're taking it to the next bit right here on Baze Radio. Morning to you, hoping that your Wednesday is coming on absolutely great. Kama kawaida, this is in the AM and we're moving all the way till 12 in the PM. Just a few more minutes before we call it a session today. But of course, we're still deep in conversation with our Baze Radio guest today, Mutua Mutuku, and we are discussing all things IP and we're about to wrap up the conversation. But before we do that, we still have to get into the nitty-gritties of some things that you definitely need to know as a musician, as a content creator, as an all-around brand. Mutua,
Yes.
as you were still telling us about mechanical rights, you
Yeah.
were just about to get into the detail of it.
Yeah.
Please, let's go.
So mechanical rights. I don't know, when we grew up with a lot of matatu culture during our time.
For sure.
And ulukunaka hivi, you hear this is a mixtape by so and so. In that mixtape, there are like 10, 20 artists.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So mechanical rights simply gives you a right to reproduce copyrighted work. Right? DJ Kalonje. I mean, for me, that was the legend of the game at that time. The time I was growing up. So the kind of mixtapes that he was making, he needs something we call a mechanical license from the artist. Now, there's this culture nowadays where you hear someone has sampled another person's song.
Yeah.
It might not be all of it, but bits of it.
Yes.
Either the sound recording, either the words, and some of the greatest hits that we have either in this country or worldwide are songs that have been sampled.
True.
So if you're going to sample someone's work, you need a mechanical license.
True.
So it simply means you're going to reproduce another person's work. That work is copyrighted, but you're going to make it in a different way. And for that, you need to have the consent of the artist. Yes. And remember, as you're getting consent of the artist, just remember the two major rights. You can get the sound recording, but there was another person who was composing the song.
True.
So you need to figure out what you're getting. Who is the public? You need to figure out all that. Yes, so that you can so that later on you don't hear someone coming for you. Yeah, songs like Malaika have been sampled by forever. Those yeah. So for you to be able to do that, you need that. Yeah. So that's the long and the short of mechanical rights. Okay. And it should not be confused with synchronization rights.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But now, even that, as we're talking about that, briefly, can you explain if so I'm trying to structure a licensing agreement?
Yes.
How do I go about it? Okay.
So of course, there's the usual parties. I won't get into the generalities of a contract. I'll just be specific to the licensing. Now, you need to know, is it assignment that you're doing or is it licensing that you're doing? You need to look at the duration of the time. For how long are you going to do this? You might shortchange yourself if you give out too much time to someone to be using this, whatever it is that you're using. You need to look at... I've seen contracts where they say you assign in perpetuity. As a creative, the day you will see that word anywhere, run away, run for the hills. And
sorry,
I don't know what's happening.
No, it's the passion.
Yes, So if you ever see something in perpetuity, run away.
Because what does that mean? Can you kindly elaborate?
Perpetuity is endless. Yeah, in forever and ever. What do you mean I'm assigning this for forever and ever?
Yeah,
you need to run away.
Yeah.
And as you're doing contract, remember it's a contract negotiation. So it's not you come with a fixed mind and the other part. No. You come up with this, I come up with this.
Yeah.
Yes. So you need to look at assignment. You need to look at if it's a contract for hire. If it's a contract for hire, what am I getting? Do you have a place where you're going to include royalties? Are you going to be paid upfront a specific fee and maybe get certain royalties out of it? Or are you going to be paid a lump sum amount of money and you assign this specifically forever and ever or for a number of years? So those are some of the things that you need to look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But the day you'll see perpetuity,
just hear that thing.
Run away. Yes.
Woo-wee. Well, okay.
Yes.
As we conclude our conversation, I think it's only keen that we get to talk, especially with all the events that have been happening. Yeah. When we talk of the brand Mutinda, Nonini case, and now the new development, Mutoria and Foi Wamboi case.
Yeah.
I think right now, people are starting to understand that there's so much power in the content that they produce and even in the music that they make. Just little things. Doesn't even have to be all the way around, but just whatever small thing you do has a lot of power. Yeah. With the recent trend, how do you think IP is going to be looking, especially in this creative industry, in the few years to come?
Look, IP is one of the areas of law that is a revolving door.
Okay.
New areas, new technologies always come in, but the basis of IP always remain. If it's a creation of this, it falls under a certain ambit of IP. Yeah. 100, we've had this conversation from hundreds of years. We're still going to continue to have this conversation 100 of years to come. It's a revolving door, but the basics remain the same. But my argument will always be, as a creative, always remember whatever it is that you're doing is work like any other work. And you need to take care of it. It's your bread. Yeah. So you need to figure out how to ensure that within the period I'm here, because I don't think it's like one of those areas, it's like sports. You don't have much length of time for you to exist in that sphere. True. So make the much out of it. Yes. Yeah. And probably something I might have forgotten. There's also something we need to figure out, something called work for hire.
Okay.
For example, if you're employed here and you create something that belongs to the entity that is paying you.
Yes.
So the copyright rests with that.
Yeah.
All the economic rights, moral rights still remain with you.
Yeah. Sorry.
If I want you to create a soundtrack for my film, you come in, I pay you all the amount of money.
Yeah.
I still retain all the economic rights.
Work for hire.
Yes, but always remember, always have a contract.
True.
Yes, and run away from a contract that says
Perpetual
Yes.
run.
Yes.
But yes, Mutua, thank you so much for coming through.
You are welcome.
That was absolutely amazing. Before we conclude, please let us know where we can find you on social media if we need any legal advice. Nini tukupate wapi?
Now socials. What's my Instagram handle?
Should I say it?
At Scrumoff. So my Instagram is at Scrumoff. Scrumoff with A, because I know many people know Scrumoff is with
Yes,
the
with the
U.
U.
My X handle is at Sened, CENED. Where else? I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on YouTube. I'm on radio every Thursday.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and where else?
The Legal Insider.
Yes.
One of my faves. But
Oh,
yes.
wow, for
yeah,
real?
Yeah. Okay, when I can catch it, I listen. But I know you're on air on Thursdays. You and I know.
Yes.
Yes.
So those are the only places you can find me on, in terms of these digital platforms. My office is on Gong Road. There's a few nini from here. It's on Gong Lane Plaza, third floor. So that's where I practice.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for coming, Mutua.
You are welcome.
Hoo-hoo, guys. I hope you've gotten all the nuggets that you could because, today's conversation was much needed. But yes, it is only 15 minutes past 11. So we're about to get into the Spotlight feature in just a little... Not Spotlight, listeners playlist. My bad.
This is Baze Radio.
We are 254 to the core.